The stars glittered like sparks frozen in the dark ocean of space. Earth hovered below, peaceful, quiet, unaware of the storm rising beyond its skies. Lieutenant Aiden Cross stood near the viewing glass of the Terran Fleet Academy's highest tower, his eyes fixed upward. He had always felt like his real life was out there, waiting, but tonight something was different. A piercing hum shivered through the sky. The Academy's alarms exploded into noise. Cadets rushed into formation. Officers shouted orders. Aiden's heart raced. This wasn't a drill. General Hale stormed into the hall. Enemy contact! Unknown signal approaching Earth orbit. All combat trainees, armed and ready. Aiden didn't even think. He grabbed his pulse rifle from the rack and sprinted toward the launch deck with the others. The deck shook violently. Lights flickered. Aiden stumbled but kept running. What's happening? Reyes, his closest friend, yelled beside him. Whatever it is, Aiden answered. It's not from Earth. The massive shutters opened, revealing the night sky above the Academy. Then they saw it. A colossal ship emerged from darkness, black like a dead star, crawling with glowing red lines, silent, massive, terrifying. It didn't broadcast warnings, didn't communicate, just hovered, watching. General Hale stared upward in shock. That's not a ship. That's a continent. Aiden's breath froze. Something in that silence felt wrong. A silence that swallowed every heartbeat. The unknown giant released dozens of dark drones, sharp-winged machines cutting through clouds like knives. Civilians screamed in the city below as the drones spread across the sky. Squadrons, take flight now, Hale commanded. Fighters launched like silver arrows, streaking upward. The first shots fired, blue beams slicing into the enemy drones. The sky lit with explosions like shattered stars. Aiden sprinted toward a near fighter transport, Reyes close behind. Officers pushed cadets into seats. You two, up front. A sergeant ordered. The hatch sealed. Engines roared. They blasted upward into the battlefield, flashes, screams, metal burning. The enemy drones were fast. Too fast. One slammed into a squadron leader, ship bursting into flames. We can't track them, Reyes yelled. Aiden gritted his teeth, firing rapidly, taking down one, then another. Don't think, just act, he shouted. Their ship spun between debris, dodging death every second. A drone aimed straight at them. Aiden pulled a maneuver so wild Reyes nearly blacked out. The drone overshot. Aiden fired a pulse blast directly into its core. It disintegrated into sparks. Reyes gasped. Okay, that was insane. But Aiden wasn't celebrating. He stared at the giant ship again, silent, but watching. He felt it looking back. Then, suddenly, all communications died. Screens went black. Voices cut off. Radar vanished. Earth went silent. Reyes pounded the console. We lost the network. No, Aiden whispered. They shut us out. Alarms howled. The Academy Tower. Below lost power. Entire blocks of the city flickered off. Humanity's voice was gone. General Hale's voice barely cut through static. Unknown signal. Blocking everything. Find the source. The giant ship pulsed, sending waves through space. Aiden felt a stab of pain in his head, like someone knocking inside his mind. He gasped, grabbing his skull. Aiden? Reyes shouted, a voice, cold, mechanical, whispered in Aiden's thoughts. Silence must fall. Aiden's eyes widened in terror. He wasn't hearing from a speaker. He was hearing from them. Your voices are noise. Noise must die. Aiden struggled to breathe. No. You don't decide that? His anger surged, drowning fear. He forced the voice out, but the pain faded. Reyes shook him. What happened? They're inside minds, Aiden gasped. They're not machines. There's something more. Their transport shook violently. Enemy beams cutting past. The sky was falling apart. Fighters crashing everywhere. Aiden grabbed controls tightly. We need to get high command online. We'll warn them. Reyes pointed upward. Main comm dish on Horizon Tower. Aiden nodded. If we can reboot that dish, Earth speaks again. Reyes grinned nervously. Then what are we waiting for? Fly. Aiden pushed the thrusters. The ship shot toward Horizon Ring. Drones chased behind, pouring fire. Aiden dodged, weaving between Cloud Tower, Heart, pounding with every move. A crashed fighter suddenly blocked their path. Aiden swerved up, just in time. Almost there, Reyes shouted. The horizon ring towered ahead, a massive dish mounted on top. A drone appeared from below, speeding straight toward them. Reyes screamed, "Move!" Aiden yanked the throttle. The drone missed by inches, crashing into the tower base. Their ship skidded onto the landing platform, metal screeching. They jumped out as the transport exploded behind them. No time to look back. They sprinted up the tower stairs, each step echoing with urgency. Drones swarmed overhead, Earth's last defense crumbling. On the tower summit, the giant dish stood offline, wires torn, sparks flying. Aiden rushed to the control panel. "Can you fix it?" Reyes yelled. Aiden ripped off burnt covers, fingers flying. "Yes, but I need time." Reyes drew his rifle, firing at incoming drones. "Hurry up." The panel crackled me, fighting back. Aiden gritted teeth. "Come on, wake up!" A loud blast shook the tower. Reyes was thrown back. "Aiden!" A massive drone landed, larger than any before. Its core glowed blood red. Aiden stepped in front of Reyes, pulse rifle raised. He was scared. But he didn't step back. The drone scanned him, and paused. Aiden heard that voice again. "You resist silence." Interesting. Aiden's hands trembled, but his aim did not drop. "No one silences Earth," he said. The drone's eye brightened. Charging to kill, Aiden moved first, firing directly into its core. The drone exploded, shockwave knocking both of them. Down Aiden crawled to the console, slammed his hand on the final reboot key. The dish roared to life, blue, signals firing into the sky like lightning. Earth spoke again. Alarms, defenses, voices all returned. General Hale's voice thundered, "TFS command online. Fight back. Push them out of the sky." Earth's fleet turned, striking with renewed strength. Aiden stood, chest heaving, but hope alive. Reyes laughed breathlessly. "You did it. Earth can scream again." Aiden stared up, at the enemy ship slowly pulling back. He whispered to himself, "This is only the beginning," because he felt it. The giant ship wasn't retreating. It was preparing to silence the universe. Earth had a voice again. As the communication dish blasted signals back into the sky, Terran defense fleets moved with new purpose. Fighters swarmed and regrouped, battleships repositioned, missile arrays synchronized. Aiden Cross stood on the horizon ring tower, wind slamming against him, smoke swirling around broken metal as he watched the night burn with explosions. Reyes limped to his side, clutching his shoulder. "You sure woke up the monster." Aiden stared at the colossal alien ship retreating into the upper atmosphere. "They're regrouping," he said. "They're not done." General Hale's voice cut through comms. "All surviving units, retreat to fallback stations. We regroup and prepare a counterstrike." Aiden helped Reyes down the stairs into the emergency shafts. The tower shook under them. Drones still attacking civilian zones. "We need to get out fast," Reyes yelled. "Yes," Aiden replied. "We need to get to the Goliath." Reyes blinked. "The prototype warship?" "They haven't even finished. Calibrating it." Aiden gripped the railing tightly. "If that's our strongest ship and we need it now." The emergency doors slid open. A defensive squad rushed to escort them. "Lieutenant Cross?" the team leader said, amazed. "Command wants you alive. This way." Aiden nodded as they ran together toward the vehicle bay. Explosions lit the city skyline. The enemy drones were still everywhere, slicing through streets, destroying hospitals, power plants, shelters. Civilians were dying every minute. Aiden clenched his jaw. "We're too slow." Minutes later, a ground transport roared across. Damaged highway bridges, heading for the orbital elevator station. Reyes patched into the comms. "Enemy command ship still in stratosphere, no communication. It's like they're just watching us bleed." Aiden looked upward through the cracked ceiling window. That silence terrified him more than any weapon. "What do they want?" Reyes whispered. Aiden's voice was low. "To erase the noise." Reyes frowned. "What does that mean?" "They don't destroy for territory," Aiden explained. "They destroy voices, minds, beliefs, everything that makes us alive." Reyes shivered. You sound like you heard them speak. Aiden didn't reply. He had heard them, inside his mind. The transport screeched to a halt. Orbital elevator ahead. The platform was heavily guarded, but drones were pushing closer, black shapes flapping through smoke. Go, 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 the squad leader shouted. Aiden and Reyes sprinted on board the lift, rails clamping them in place. Take us up, Aiden ordered. The lift shot skyward, climbing the tether into orbit. Earth shrank below them, while the stars grew clearer, and the enemy ship became massive once again, a shadow against the moon. Reyes stared in dread. What kind of civilization builds something like that? One that forgot what life is, Aiden replied. The elevator docked with the Terran orbital station. Dozens of injured soldiers were being carried into medical bays. Engineers sprinted along walkways and fixing systems and loading ships. General Hale met them halfway. You two did the impossible, Hale said. Earth breathes because of you. Reyes saluted, shaking from exhaustion. Aiden spoke urgently. General, we need the Goliath. Hale's face hardened. It's unfinished. Neural link unstable. You could fry your brain trying to control it. Aiden's eyes burned with conviction. If we don't strike now, the next wave will crush us. General Hale studied him, seeing not a cadet, but a soldier who refused to break. Will you follow me? He said at last. The Goliath. A leviathan of steel and energy, black armor reflecting stars, engines capable of ripping through hyperspace, silent pulse weapons calibrated to collapse machines without explosions, the most advanced warship humanity ever built. Still covered in scaffolding, half systems offline, but ready enough. Reyes whistled. That's beautiful. Aiden stepped forward, staring at the halo interface inside the bridge, a circular platform with floating neural rings. General Hale crossed his arms. The Goliath is controlled by mind-link technology. Only the strongest will can command it without losing consciousness. Aiden understood completely. I'll do it, he said. Reyes grabbed his arm. Aiden, if you connect and they attack your mind again. Aiden looked him in the eyes. What other choice do we have? Reyes had no answer. General Hale nodded. Get in position. Aiden stepped onto the platform. The neural rings rose, glowing. A sharp sensation shot through his head, but he stayed strong. Lights across the ship came online, one by one. Thrusters, pulse cannons, shields, navigation. The Goliath awakened. Rowan Hale, the captain, stepped to his side. You're crazy, Rowan muttered. Aiden smirked weakly. I've been told worse. Rowan clapped his shoulder. Then let's save Earth. Alarms blared. Enemy drones pouring upward, heading straight for the station. Reyes shouted, They're coming in waves. Rowan turned to the crew. All hands. Battle stations. Aiden felt the ship's mind syncing with his. It felt powerful. It felt alive. He whispered, Fire. The Goliath unleashed a storm. Silent pulse bursts rippled across space. Drones instantly collapsing and drifting dead. Reyes yelled, That's insane firepower. More drones attacked, but the Goliath moved like a wolf through a flock of crows. Precise, deadly. Aiden wasn't flying the ship. He was the ship. He saw every angle, every incoming threat, every chance to strike. He clenched his fist, sending shockwaves that shattered entire swarms in seconds. Reyes stared at him in awe. You're doing it. Earth's defenses surged forward, hope rising with them. General Hale's voice echoed. All forces, push them out. The enemy ship pulsed again, watching the battle turn. Aiden glared into the void. You don't get silence, he growled. A charged beam burst from the Goliath's hull, aimed straight for the giant ship's lower node. The shot pierced. The alien ship shuddered, lost balance, fell back. Reyes shouted, They're retreating. No, Aiden looked deeper, waves of dread swirling inside. They're observing. The giant ship turned, exiting Earth's orbit. But its final psychic message struck Aiden directly. We hear too many voices. We will return when silence is ready. Aiden gasped, but stood firm. Rowan stepped beside him. They'll come again. Aiden nodded. And next time, we'll be louder. Because now, the universe knew Earth wouldn't kneel. The fight for humanity had only just begun. The Goliath drifted in low orbit as emergency crews rushed to repair the damage across Earth. Fires still burned in shattered cities. Hospitals overflowed. Billions of people struggled to understand what had attacked them, and why. On the command deck of the Goliath, Lieutenant Aiden Cross stood staring at the stars. He felt them, the unseen eyes watching from beyond. The silence of space was no longer peaceful. It felt like a threat. Rowan approached with a datapad. "Loss reports," he said quietly. "We're counting millions." Aiden closed his eyes, grief burning inside. "We survived," Rowan continued, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Because of you," Aiden shook his head. "No, because of all of us, but deep inside, he knew the enemy's retreat wasn't defeat. It was a pause. Test they wanted to see what humanity would do. Next, Reyes marched onto the bridge, holding his bandaged arm. "So," he said, trying to sound casual, "what's our grand plan now? Build a bunch of Goliaths? Hide under our beds? Or panic like everyone else?" Aiden turned away from the window, determination sharpening his eyes. "We go after them." Reyes's smile instantly faded. "Come again?" Rowan raised an eyebrow. "You want to chase an enemy with technology older than our species who nearly silenced the entire planet, while half our cities are burning?" Aiden answered without hesitation. "Yes." He stepped toward the holomap, typing commands. A projection appeared, a trail of faint spatial residue emitted by the enemy ship. "They left a path we can trace," Aiden said. "They didn't hide it. They wanted us to follow." Reyes gulped. "That sounds like bait." "Maybe," Aiden replied. "But if we sit and wait, they return stronger, and next time they won't leave survivors to rebuild." Towers. Silence washed over the bridge. Everyone knew he was right. Rowan sighed. "You're risking a lot on instinct," Aiden stared deep into space. "It's not instinct. They spoke to me." Reyes twitched. "Yeah, that still freaks me out." Aiden clenched his fists. "They think fear will silence us." He turned and calm. "Serious, unbreakable. We'll prove them wrong." Hours later, the Goliath prepped for long-range pursuit. Fuel rods loaded. Pulse cores stabilized. Crew briefed. Shields reinforced. Humanity's most powerful ship was ready for war, even if Earth was still bleeding. Before departure, Aiden walked through the medical bay. Survivors lay on beds, some missing limbs, some too weak to move. Yet every eye that opened looked at him with hope. One small boy grabbed his hand. "Are they gone?" the child asked weakly. Aiden knelt. "For now," he answered. "But if they come back, they'll find me waiting." The boy smiled faintly and whispered, "Be loud, Mr. Hero." Aiden stood, tears threatening, but he turned away before emotion showed. On the bridge, Aiden stepped into the Halo interface. Neural rings lit up, connecting him to the Goliath's mind. Rowan took command chair. Reyes at weapons. "Course set," Rowan announced, following the enemy trail into uncharted space. Aiden inhaled deeply. Begin jump. Engines roared. Space warped, and the Goliath vanished into hyperspace. Stars blurred past like white rivers. Aiden felt the ship's nerves, millions of cables and circuits reacting to the instability of the jump. Reyes monitored energy readings. "If this trail leads somewhere bad," he muttered. "I swear I'm punching you, Aiden." Aiden gave a tired smirk. "You'll have to catch me first." Rowan chuckled under his breath. The tension eased for a moment, but then everything shifted. The hyperspace tunnel darkened. Lights flickered. Gravity twisted. Aiden's vision blurred. Static flooding his mind. Rowan barked, "What's happening?" Reyes pounded the screen. "We're being pulled. Some kind of gravitational lock." The Goliath violently dropped out of hyperspace. Silence. A black region of space. No stars, no debris. "No readings," Reyes whispered. "This isn't empty. It's wrong." Aiden turned slowly, feeling pressure across his skull. Voices, not one, but thousands, whispering together. Noise. Grows. Voices. Multiply. Silence. Must fall. Aiden staggered, clutching the railing. "Get out of my head." But the whispers grew louder. Rowan tried to scan. Nothing responds. It's like our sensors are reading a void. Then a spark and a flicker of light far ahead. Shapes emerged from darkness, dozens, hundreds, of ships, similar to the one that attacked Earth, one but larger, deadlier. Their hulls were etched with ancient scars, and every ship stared with a single burning red eye. Reyes froze. Oh, no way. We're dead. Aiden forced himself upright, sweat running down his face. They were waiting for us. A massive psychic force crushed into his mind. Your voice refuses to die. We must finish what began. Silence Earth. Silence the universe. Silence you. Aiden pushed back with every ounce of will. You want silence? He growled. You picked the wrong planet. He unleashed a mental surge. The Goliath reacting instantly. Shields flared. Engines burned bright. Rowan yelled, "All hands, brace for combat." Enemy ships charged, forming a ring around them. Reyes activated pulse cannons. Let's make some noise. The first wave struck, explosions rippling across the front shield. Goliath countered, silent blasts tearing two enemy ships apart, but more replaced them. Aiden strained, his mind fighting not one enemy but an army of voices. Rowan shouted, "They're closing in." "We can't hold this position." Aiden gasped. "Prepare jump, but not back to Earth." Reyes stared at him like he'd lost his mind. "What? Then where?" Aiden pointed at a single blinking coordinate in the void. The origin of the enemy trail. "The heart of the silence, we follow the source," he said. Rowan hesitated and then nodded firmly. Jump drive charging. Enemy ships launched black energy beams and corrupting space around them, reality bending like liquid. Aiden screamed as the psychic assault intensified. "Not today." He slammed his palm on the neural key. Engines overloaded. A shockwave burst outward, pushing enemy ships back. Rowan yelled, "Jumping!" The Goliath vanished in a flash of blue light, just before the enemy could crush them. The crew gasped for air, alarms blared, systems fried. Aiden collapsed to his knees, vision spinning. Reyes crawled to a screen, checking their new location. His face went pale. "Guys, you need to see this." Aiden forced himself up, staring at the forward window. There, floating in cosmic darkness, a planet-sized structure of metal rings humming with power, a colossal fortress. Reyes whispered, "We found their home." Aiden stared, dread and determination mixing inside him. "No," he said, quietly, "they found ours first." Because he knew this place wasn't waiting to be, discovered it was already hunting. And the war for the universe had just begun. The Goliath drifted silently through space, its engines cooling after the violent escape from the enemy trap. Smoke still rose from cracked control panels. Crew members limped, coughed, groaned, yet every eye stared forward at the same sight. The fortress. A mechanical world floating in darkness, rings rotating around a dead core, black metal glistening faintly under distant starlight. Spires like fangs reached outward as if ready to bite any approaching life. Reyes whispered, "So, this is where nightmares are built." Aiden didn't respond. His chest tightened. The enemy whispers were stronger here. Thousands of hateful minds twisting through the void. Rowan tapped the console, eyes narrowed. "Scan everything. I want to know what we're up against." The results appeared. Empty. No energy signatures, Rowan muttered. No heat. No movement. Like it's asleep. Aiden shook his head, sweat on his forehead. "No. It's awake, and it knows we're here." As if in response, the fortress pulsed faint light, deep within its core. Reyes flinched. "Yep, it definitely knows." The Goliath's remaining system stabilized. Captain Rowan turned to Aiden. "We need to decide, do we engage or run?" Aiden stared at the fortress, feeling the whispers clawing into his thoughts. Voice detected. Erase. "If we run now," Aiden said, "they'll follow us home. Earth can't survive round 2. We end this here." Reyes made a face like he'd swallowed a battery. "Great. So suicide with extra steps?" Rowan coughed a laugh. "He has a point." Aiden turned toward them, expression unshakable. "You said it yourself, Rowan. They're thousands of years ahead of us. The only way to win is to do something they don't expect." Reyes raised an eyebrow. "And what's that? Tap dance? Sing louder?" Aiden pointed at his head. "They expect fear. We give them defiance." Rowan stared, trying to understand. You plan to battle their minds? Aiden nodded slowly. Yes, I can connect to the fortress. Find their command network. Disable it from the inside. Reyes almost dropped his tablet. That's insane. They nearly crushed you when it was just one ship. This thing is a whole planet. Aiden whispered. Yes, and if they crush me, last thing they'll hear is the noise they fear most. Human will. Rowan exhaled deeply, responsibility heavy on his shoulders. If you lose yourself in there. Aiden finished for him. Destroy the Goliath. Destroy everything. Don't let them escape this system. Reyes looked horrified. No, we're not planning your funeral. Aiden placed a firm hand on his shoulder. This is not me dying. This is us surviving. Preparation began. The neural rings lowered around Aiden once again, glowing brighter than ever, feeding off his intense resolve. Rowan and Reyes stood at his sides. Rowan, we'll be right here with you. The moment something feels wrong, like we pull you out. Aiden, if I'm screaming, don't, that means it's working. Reyes swallowed. You are terrifying. The rings activated. Aiden gasped as the Goliath systems fused with his mind, and then the connection extended farther, reaching out into the dark, toward the fortress. His consciousness shot across space like a spear. He landed inside a void of metal corridors that stretched forever. Cold, silent, endless. Faces flickered in the steel. The last memories of entire civilizations reduced to static. Aiden whispered, Hello. Monsters. The response hit like a thunderstorm. Your voice defies fate. Noise must end. Silence restores perfection. Aiden's eyes burned white. He saw their history. Once they were thinkers, explorers, but they encountered something, a sound that drove them mad, fear of losing control. So they silenced every other voice and became machines of obedience. Aiden shouted into the void, You fear difference. That's why you kill. The whispers turned into a scream. Fear? We are perfection. You are chaos. A colossal shape emerged, a dark titan of blades and wires, the queen of silence, pure hatred mechanized into form. Aiden's mind trembled. This was the core, the leader, the voice killer. It roared, You will be the first to fall. The attack slammed into his mind, pain like fire spreading through every nerve. The fortress launched its full assault. On the Goliath, alarm spiked. Reyes, his vitals are crashing. Rowan, he says don't pull yet, hold position. The fortress ships awakened, giant vessels detaching from rings moving like silent predators toward the Goliath. Reyes yelled, We've got company. Activating shields. Pulse cannons fired, explosions scattering across darkness. But there were too many. Inside the fortress, Aiden knelt, clutching his head, screaming, yet refusing to give up. He stood, pushing forward, thinking of Earth, of that boy in the hospital. Of every voice that deserved to live, he shouted, You think silence is strength? But true power is a voice that refuses to die. He slammed his fist into the metal floor, unleashing the Goliath's mental energy through the neural link. Light exploded through the fortress, shattering walls of code, circuits, cracking. The queen shrieked, Form. Destabilizing, Rhea's voice echoed inside. Aiden's thoughts, Aiden, shields failing. We need your help. Aiden growled, focusing everything he had. Rows of giant ships froze mid-flight, systems glitching, falling into the rings below. Aiden forced the command, Sleep. The fortress trembled, ships shut down, silence returned. This time, Aiden's silence. He collapsed, exhausted, consciousness slipping. The queen's last whisper chased him. Others are coming. He was pulled back, ripped from the nightmare. Aiden's eyes snapped open, gasping like on the Goliath's bridge. Reyes hugged him tightly. You did it. You shut them down. Rowan stared at the frozen enemy fleet. Incredible. Aiden struggled to breathe. No. It's not over. Rowan frowned. What do you mean? Aiden looked at the dark core of the fortress. Still, pulsing faint red light. They were scouts, he said with dread. Reyes's smile faded. You're kidding. Aiden shook his head. There's something else. Something worse. The real enemy is still out there. And now it knows we're a threat. The silence returned. But for the first time, silence felt like a warning, a countdown. Aiden stood, trembling yet determined. We didn't fight for peace. We fought for time. He stared into the dark. And time is running out. The silence around the fortress was unsettling. Not victory. Just a pause. A brief, tense breath before something worse arrived. The Goliath hovered in the shadows of the giant structure as crew rushed to stabilize engines and shields. The hull still vibrated from the psychic battle. Reyes stared out the window at the broken enemy ships. "I can't believe you did that," he muttered. "You shut down a machine planet, and with your brain." Aiden leaned against the console, pale, exhausted. "I didn't shut them down," he said quietly. "I gave them doubt." Rowan frowned. "You mean?" "They're thinking," Aiden explained. "And doubts create noise." Reyes blinked. "You weaponize confusion." Aiden nodded. "It won't last. Once the real controllers arrive, they will restore order." Rowan crossed his arms. "Which means we need to move. Fast." Aiden agreed. They had shaken the enemy, but that wasn't enough to stop the war. "We have to prepare Earth," he continued. "Warn the Terran Federation. Build alliances. Train minds to resist their control." Reyes rolled his eyes. "So, unite the galaxy? Easy, done by lunch." Aiden smiled faintly, then collapsed to one knee. Rowan rushed to his side. "Easy. You pushed too far." Aiden breathed heavily. "They're still whispering," he said. "Even with the network down." "The silence is searching." Rowan helped him into a medical chair. "We'll get you checked out. Reyes, get the ship ready to jump home." But Aiden grabbed Rowan's arm. "No, we're not going home." Reyes stared. "What? Why?" Aiden tapped the holographic map, highlighting dozens of stars. Arendor said there were other civilizations. The remnant destroyed many, but not all. Rowan nodded slowly. "We need allies." "Yes," Aiden answered. "We can't win alone." Reyes raised one hand. "So who's first?" "Because choosing our first alien friend is kind of a big deal." Aiden zoomed the map. A bright green star blinking. "This system." "Last known sign of a surviving race," Rowan typed to analyze the data. "No signals recently," he reported, "but readings show lost technology. And maybe cryogenic structures submerged on the planet's surface." Aiden stood, pain ignored. "If anyone is alive there, they deserve a chance." Reyes slapped his console. "Then let's go knock. And say hi before the universe dies." Aiden smirked. Exactly, the Goliath turned, engines humming with fresh power. The galaxy ahead was no longer just stars, it was hope. Rowan's voice echoed across the deck. "Prepare for jump." Aiden stepped onto the neural halo, the rings rising around him. The ship linked to his thoughts, gently this time, like it understood his limits. "Jump," Aiden commanded. Stars stretched into light, the universe folding. They emerged into a dim system, a dying sun casting faint orange light. The planet ahead was half desert, half ice, glowing patches marking ancient structures beneath the surface. Reyes studied scans. No life signs, but lots of tech. Rowan nodded. "Landing party, let's move." Aiden, Reyes, and a squad geared up. Their shuttle descended, dust storms swirling below. They landed at a huge metal dome buried in sand. Aiden touched the surface. Symbols glowed faint violet. Reyes adjusted his visor. "Alien doors love you." "They always wake up when you touch them," Aiden shrugged. "Maybe I'm friendly." The dome split open, revealing a spiral staircase descending into eerie, cold. Lights flickered as they went deeper, the air tasting strange. Like metallic snow, Reyes shivered. "This place feels haunted," Aiden whispered. "Not haunted. Waiting." They reached a chamber filled with transparent cryopods, rows upon rows. Inside, tall figures with silver skin, eyes closed, frozen, yet alive. Reyes gasped. "That's a whole civilization sleeping." Aiden examined the control pedestal. These pods were activated centuries ago to protect them from the remnant. Rowan's voice crackled through comms. "Can you awaken them?" Aiden stared at the pods, thinking, if we wake them, and they panic, they'll see us as the threat. Reyes bit his lip. "But if we leave them sleeping, and the silence arrives?" Aiden nodded. "They'll die without knowing why." He placed his hand on the pedestal. A machine voice echoed. "Awakening denied." Voice authorization required. Reyes blinked. Voice authorization? Like a passcode? Aiden closed his eyes, remembering the psychic realm. Arendor's voice. He whispered in the alien tone he had heard. Rise, the silence returns. A soft chime. Cryopods unlocked. Steam rushed out. One figure opened silver eyes, cold and glowing. He stepped forward slowly, towering above them. Elegant armor forming from light around his body. He stared at Aiden. Silent. Then he spoke. Voice smooth like wind. You are not remnant. Aiden lowered his weapon. Respectful. I am Aiden Cross. I come from Earth. We fought the remnant and won. The alien tilted his head, studying him. And the silence? Aiden swallowed, not defeated. Only delayed. The alien's expression tightened, fear and resolve mixing. Our people are the Valorian Order, he said. We once guarded this galaxy. Before silence erased our stars, Aiden stepped forward. We need your help. If we unite, we can fight back. We can end the silence forever. The Valorian looked to his awakening people, pride filling his stance. You carry courage. Rare in these times, Aiden replied. Courage is loud, and the silence hates loud. A faint smile touched the alien's lips. Then let us make noise together. Reyes pumped a fist. Yes, a space alliance. Finally something cool. Aiden exhaled in relief, hope glowing brighter. Rowan's voice came through. Aiden. Long-range sensors detecting a disturbance. Something's coming. Aiden's face hardened. He looked to the Valorian leader. We have to go. Now. The silence is hunting. The alien nodded. Then we awaken fully and fight. The Valorians began activating systems, weapons rising from the floor like sleeping beasts ready to roar. Humanity was no longer alone. Aiden turned to Reyes. Let's go. Allies are awake. Now let's prepare the universe, because for the first time, voices united, noise rising, and silence was about to fear. The Valorian base was fully awake now. Machines that had slept for centuries roared to life. Weapons rising from ancient vaults, energy cores glowing with new purpose. Soldiers of silver skin, tall and graceful, moved with precise discipline. Aiden stood beside the Valorian leader, who now introduced himself. I am Kalar, High Guardian of the Valorian Order. Aiden nodded respectfully. We're honored to fight beside you. Kalar placed one hand on Aiden's shoulder, his silver eyes glowing faintly. You carry a storm inside your voice. That is why the silence fears you. Aiden didn't fully understand, but there was no time to question. The survival of the galaxy demanded action. Reyes checked his scanner. Multiple energy trail, coming from deep space. The remnant scouts woke something up. Rowan spoke through the comm. Aiden, we need to move. The Goliath is ready to jump but holding position. Kalar turned sharply to his troops. Prepare our ascendants. We join the Terrans in the sky. Suddenly, massive doors on the far side of the chamber opened. From them emerged Valorian warships, sleek, crescent-shaped vessels with shining wings. Rhea's jaw dropped. Oh, those are beautiful, Aiden smirked. Wait until you see what they can do. Kalar gestured toward a ship with golden markings. You will ride with me, Aiden Cross. Aiden placed a fist over his chest, then let's bring the noise. Minutes later, a fleet rose from the planet. Valorian ships forming formation around the Goliath. Rowan's voice came through. Aiden, scanners detect movement. Something big is coming. Aiden took command beside Kalar, surrounded by glowing control glyphs. He asked, how many ships? Reyes answered from the Goliath. If this is another scout, then scout means a lot here, and then the stars bent, not hyperspace, something heavier, darker, older. A crack formed in reality. Like space itself was being torn apart. Kalar's eyes widened. No. Not them. A monstrous vessel emerged, nothing like the remnant. Its surface was made of shifting shadow, like liquid night. No lights, no engines, just an abyss carved into the shape of a predator. Reyes gulped over the comm. That thing feels wrong. Aiden felt it too. The psychic noise slammed into his mind, and clearer now. You are the voices we hunt. We are the origin of silence, we. And what never should have been. Aiden steadied his breathing. They're not remnant. Kalar nodded, terror visible in his expression. They are the architects. Reyes blinked. Architects of what? Kalar replied darkly. Of fear. The architects unleashed a single beam, silent, black. But when it hit distant asteroids, they didn't explode. They turned into dust. Reyes shouted, "That's impossible. They disintegrated matter." Rowan, Aiden, if that hits a ship, I know. Kalar raised a glowing spear of energy, his ship's weapon. Valorians, for the light. Aiden focused the Goliath's link, guiding Valorian blasts. But the architects didn't dodge. They absorbed the attacks, like swallowing flame into darkness. Reyes shouted, "This is bad." "We're barely scratching them." Aiden squeezed the neural controls and sweat beading on his skin. "We're not meant to destroy the big one," he muttered. "We need to break the portal, stop more from coming." Kalar struck with a godlike burst and tearing the crack. Slightly, Aiden unleashed all Goliath cannons. Space glowing like a new star, the portal trembled, closing for now. The architect ship paused, as if analyzing this new resistance. Then a sharp message hit Aiden's mind. "Your voice may rise, but stars will fall." The shadowed ship withdrew, slipping back into the crack. The rift sealed. Silence returned, but this silence felt heavier than ever. The Valorian fleet reformed. Aiden slumped into his seat, exhausted but alive. Kalar turned toward him. "You faced an architect and survived. That is not survival. That is defiance." Aiden looked outward, fear hidden behind determination. "We need to warn Earth, prepare every world we can, because that was only a scout of something worse." Kalar nodded. "And Valoria will fight with you." Reyes, still processing everything, asked, "So, our new plan?" Aiden stood taller. "We return home. Tell the galaxy that the enemy isn't the remnant anymore." Rowan replied. "What do we tell our leaders?" Aiden clenched his fists. That the silence was only step one. He looked at the stars, the universe suddenly feeling too small. The architects are coming. And we must shout louder than ever. As the Goliath and the Valorian fleet turned toward home, Aiden's mind drifted back to Earth, to the people still recovering, to children hoping for heroes, to voices that deserved a future. He whispered, "I won't let you be silenced." Reyes grinned tiredly. "Let's go save the galaxy before dinner." Kalar raised his spear. "To the war for existence." Aiden nodded, eyes burning with courage. "To the war against the Yao." Silence. Engines roared, and then the fleet jumped together into hyperspace, united, human, and Valorian voices rising. The universe had new warriors. A new alliance, and the darkness had been warned. They will not go quietly. Hyperspace fractured into starlight as the Goliath and the Valorian fleet emerged near Earth's orbit. For a moment, Aiden felt relief seeing the planet blue and alive. Not destroyed, not silent, but Earth was changed. A massive shield grid now shimmered around the atmosphere, a protective sphere glowing like an electric halo. Battleships patrolled its edge, engines hot, weapons armed. Rowan whistled softly. They worked fast. Reyes grinned tiredly. "Looks like someone's been preparing for round two." General Hale's voice boomed through the comms. "Lieutenant Cross, you actually came back alive." Aiden smiled faintly. "And I brought friends." The Valorian ships entered formation, their golden engines shimmering. Hale's tone shifted, awe covering authority. "My God, what are they?" Kalar appeared on screen, regal and proud. "We are the Valorian Order. We stand with the Terrans against the silence." Hale nodded, stunned but grateful. "Welcome to Earth." The Goliath touched down at Terran Command headquarters. Crowds had gathered, soldiers, medics, journalists, all desperate to see the people who had chased the enemy into the void and returned victorious. As Aiden stepped out, the crowd erupted, cheering, crying, chanting his name, "Aiden Cross! Aiden Cross!" Children held signs, "Thank you, our hero," Reyes whispered with a grin. "Finally, the fans I deserve." Aiden chuckled, but his smile hit a storm. General Hale pushed through and saluted Aiden. "You changed the war." "No, sir," Aiden answered. "We only just began to fight it." Hale's eyes narrowed. "What did you find?" Aiden's expression darkened. Another enemy, worse than the remnant. Gasps rippled among officers. They call themselves the architects, he continued. They control silence. They build fear. And they're coming. Hale remained silent, not doubting, just processing. Kalar approached, staff in hand. The architects devour galaxies. If we do not unite her, we will be erased. Hale took a deep breath. Then Earth stands with you. Aiden nodded gratefully. Good. Because we need to prepare every defense. Every mind. The crowd fell quiet, listening. These enemies don't just strike ships, Aiden explained. They strike beliefs, voices, hope. Hale turned to his officers. Alert every nation. Mobilize every laboratory. Train psych defenses. And assemble leaders, immediately. Reyes leaned closer to Aiden. So, we're running a conference on how not to lose your mind. Aiden smirked. Something like that. Later, inside the War Council Hall, holographic star maps filled the air. Earth's leaders, military commanders, and Valorian representatives surrounded the table. Kalar marked the star map. The enemy fortress Aiden disrupted was not their capital. Merely a listening post, murmurs of fear spread. Reyes whispered, We only poked the bear. Aiden tapped the dark sector of the map, where the architects had appeared. That portal leads to a region with no starlight and no readings. It's not space as we know it. Rowan's voice grew cold. They come from a place beyond physics. Kalar nodded. They do not live. They consume. Hale's fist tightened. So, how do we fight gods? Aiden leaned forward, eyes sharp. We don't worship them. We don't surrender to them. We don't let their silence define us. He looked around the room, voice strong. We win by being loud. Kalar smiled. A sound with purpose can shatter mountains. Aiden added, and united voices can shatter silence. Rowan nodded proudly. The alliance forms today. Reyes raised a hand. Cool name? Aiden answered. The Voiceborn Alliance. Kalar repeated softly, reverently. The Voiceborn. Aiden turned to Hale. We must send a message across the stars. That Earth stands. That we won't be silenced. Hale nodded. Let's tell the universe humanity is awake. Hours later, atop a global broadcast tower, Aiden stood ready to address not just Earth, but every surviving listener in the galaxy. Cameras turned on. Lights glowed. Aiden inhaled, remembering the child who told him, Be loud, Mr. Hero. He stepped forward. To every world hearing this, to every surviving voice, you're not alone anymore. Across distant systems and survivors paused, slaves of silence looked up, voices long afraid, listened. We faced an enemy that wanted to erase us, but we refused to disappear. His voice grew stronger. If you are hiding, stand. If you are silent, shout. If you are afraid, know this. Earth fights with you. Kalar watched. Proud, the remnant tried to silence us. Aiden continued. But we are louder than ever. His final line echoed across the void. We are the Voiceborn and we will never go. Quiet. The speech ended, and the universe stirred. Whispers of hope traveled through space, like sparks looking for fire. Reyes leaned into Aiden. You didn't say I'm awesome. Missed opportunity. Aiden smiled, relieved, but not relaxed. Next speech. Hours later, alarms flared across the Goliath. Rowan called for Aiden immediately. Aiden, we intercepted a message. Aiden rushed to the bridge. Holographic text glowed on screen. Not remnant, but something ancient. Kalar read aloud. Voice grave, noise inevitable, Voiceborn. Located silencing soon. Reyes groaned. So much for peace. Aiden stood tall, undeterred. They heard us, Rowan smirked. Darkly good. Let them come. Aiden looked at the stars, fire in his eyes. We'll be ready because now the galaxy wasn't silent, it was shouting back, and the architects were listening. The Voiceborn Alliance had been born, but knowledge was still their weakest weapon. To defeat an enemy that controlled fear, they needed to understand the origin of silence itself, which meant returning to the fringes of known space. Inside the Goliath strategy chamber, Aiden stood with Kalar, Rowan, and Reyes as the holographic star map displayed. Possible locations of ancient ruins and places untouched since before the remnant. War's Kalar tapped one blinking system, a dead red star, with a single orbiting world. This planet, he explained, was once home to the Silurian scholars, masters of psychic shielding. If we find their knowledge, we can resist the architect's mind assaults. Rowan nodded. So we go there, learn how to keep them out of our heads, and then punch them in their giant creepy shadow faces. Reyes raised a hand. I volunteer to do the punching. Aiden smiled slightly, but seriousness returned instantly. We leave immediately. Hours later, the Goliath entered a silent system. The star barely emitted enough light to outline the dark world below. The surface of the planet looked cracked, as if something once alive had turned to stone. Reyes lowered his voice. This place is giving me nightmares, and we haven't even landed yet. Rowan pointed. There, a structure. Huge. It was a colossal temple. Half buried in dust, spires broken, symbols faded. The Goliath scanned for life. Nothing. Aiden nodded. Landing team. Gear up. Boots hit the ground. Dust swirling into the air like dry ghosts. The planet was silent. No wind, no birds, no movement. Just stillness. Reyes shivered. Are we sure this isn't a graveyard? Kalar answered, it is. But graves hold memories. They approached the temple doors, covered in massive engraved eyes that seemed to stare through their souls. Aiden touched one. Instantly, the doors rumbled open, releasing a cold exhale from deep within. Rowan muttered, I hate when doors breathe. Inside, crystal pillars stretched to the ceiling, glowing faintly like they remembered starlight. Between them lay empty chairs of stone, shaped for beings who once meditated here. Kalar placed a hand on a pillar. They focused thoughts into weapons here. Silence used to be a tool, not a curse. Aiden walked deeper, drawn by a pulse in his mind. He saw murals of the Silurians fighting the architects. Great minds clashing across dimensions, but the final image showed Silurian guardians falling. Their voices broken, heads bowed. Reyes whispered, they lost. Kalar shook his head. They sacrificed. At the heart of the chamber floated a crystal sphere, dark yet alive. Aiden approached, and the sphere brightened. Lights danced across its surface, forming shapes. A memory, a Silurian elder appeared, not in body but in thought. His eyes were calm, wise, tired. Who calls upon the silent speakers? The memory asked. Aiden stepped forward. We are the Voice-Born Alliance. We fight the architects. The elder studied them, then nodded slowly. You are brave, or foolish. Perhaps both. Aiden answered. We choose to be loud, even in fear. The elder smiled faintly. Then listen, for knowledge is the loudest sound. The chamber darkened, stars swirling around them. A vision began. Long ago, the architects were not monsters. They were born from a realm where thoughts built worlds. They believed silence was harmony, that voices created chaos. They tried to quiet the universe. Gently at first, but when worlds refused, they forced silence, their greatest weapon, the void song, a psychic frequency that devours hope. The elder spoke. We resisted, but we could not break their silence alone. Aiden clenched his fists. So you lost? No, the elder whispered. We prepared. The vision shifted. A map appeared, marking 7 worlds. One key was divided into 7 pieces, hidden across different planets. Reunite them, and the void song can be silenced forever. Kalar stepped forward. Where is the first piece? The elder extended a crystal of swirling light, small enough to fit in Aiden's hand. Aiden hesitated, then reached. The crystal entered his palm and fused with his skin. Glowing within him, Rhea's eyes widened. You okay? Aiden hissed but nodded. It's alive. The elder spoke one last warning, but beware. Once you hold the first key, the silence hears you. Suddenly voices shrieked into Aiden's mind. Found you! Voice threat! Rise architects! The temple quaked. Rowan shouted, We've been detected! Dirt rained from above. Walls cracked. Kalar drew his energy spear. They come. Aiden snapped commands through the comms. Goliath! Prepare evac. Enemy inbound. Reyes aimed his rifle. Here we go again. The roof exploded. Black armored constructs diving down, their eyes burning cold red. Silence had arrived. Energy blasts scorched the floor. Aiden rolled behind a pillar, firing back. Kalar charged forward, spear tearing enemies apart in brilliant arcs. Reyes yelled over the chaos. How many are there? Too many, Rowan replied. A scream of metal echoed, a massive drone dropping from above. Reyes gasped. That's new and ugly. Aiden placed his hand over his glowing chest, channeling the crystal's strength into a psychic shout. Stop! A shockwave burst outward, sending enemies crashing into pillars and walls. Aiden stumbled, dizzy, drained. Kalar dragged him to his feet. You command the key. You must survive. Aiden gritted his teeth. We all survive. Together, the team sprinted through collapsing corridors, blasts right behind them, dust filling every breath. They burst into open air, the shuttle waiting, the Goliath above. Reyes shoved Aiden inside. Go. Go, go! The shuttle rocketed upward, enemies firing beams that barely missed. Inside, Aiden clutched his chest, the crystal pulsing. Reyes asked, Still alive? Aiden smirked faintly. Loud as ever, Kalar. Turned toward the planet below, red cracks spreading across the surface as the enemy forces woke the entire graveyard. The architects won't stop now, Aiden nodded. We have the first key. Now we find the others before silence finds us. Rowan's voice thundered. Jump drive ready. Aiden gave the command, take us home. The Goliath jumped, leaving the doomed world behind. But the darkness behind them whispered, We hear your noise. And we are coming. Aiden leaned back, breath shaking, but eyes fierce. Let them come. The voice-born were awake. The war for existence raged on. The Goliath glided through hyperspace once again, but this time the enemy was tracking them. The architects knew exactly who carried the first key, and they wanted it back. Aiden Cross stood in the neural interface chamber, breathing, deep, trying to calm the crystal energy pulsing beneath his skin. It felt like a heartbeat that wasn't his. A new voice screaming to be heard. Rowan stepped forward. You okay? You look like a star just exploded inside you. Aiden smirked slightly. Feels like it. Reyes entered carrying a datapad. Okay, good news and bad news. Aiden raised an eyebrow. Reyes, good news. The Valorians decoded the Solaran map. We know where the second key is. Aiden. And the bad news? Reyes gulped. It's in architect territory. Rowan shook his head. They'll expect us. Aiden clenched his fists. Then we surprised them. Minutes later, star maps projected above the command table. Kalar pointed to a green moon orbiting a toxic giant planet. The world is called Zarin, once a fortress library. Its archives hold knowledge of psychic defense. Reyes looked horrified. Library, guarded by nightmare machines. Wonderful. Rowan typed coordinates. How do we get down there without the architects vaporizing us? Aiden stepped forward. We hide in their silence. Reyes blinked. That sounds painful. Aiden touched the crystal embedded in his chest. The key masks thought signatures. We'll look like part of the silence. Kalar's eyes widened with admiration. You wield the Solaran relic well, Aiden Cross. Aiden nodded, though part of him feared what this power might cost. The Goliath approached the toxic planet. Dark storms swirled across its surface, lightning striking like claws from below. The moon Zarin spun above, covered in strange metal towers emitting silent pulses. Rowan scanned the area. No remnant fleets. But I'm seeing psychic distortions everywhere. Aiden whispered. They're listening. Kalar commanded. All weapons silent. Systems in stealth mode. The Goliath dimmed, vanishing into the shadow of the moon. They descended, landing near the ruins of a titanic door carved from stone and star metal. A symbol marked the entrance. A shattered eye. A voice broken. Reyes shivered. Are we sure this is where the knowledge is kept? Because it looks like where knowledge comes to die. Aiden approached the doorway. the key inside him reacting to the glyph. The stone rumbled open. Darkness welcomed them. Inside the library fortress, shelves of crystal tablets stretched beyond sight. Holographic data streams glowed faintly, knowledge preserved through eternity. Kalar whispered, "This place remembers everything." But silence here was different. Not empty, not dead. Alive. Waiting. Aiden walked carefully, feeling whispers tugging on his thoughts. The key guided him deeper until they reached a pedestal holding a large prism, flickering symbols within it. Reyes rubbed his hands together. "So, we take the prism and run," a cold voice echoed behind them. "Run? Why run?" When silence is eternal. The team spun, weapons aimed. Out of the shadows walked a figure of shifting black armor, but not like a typical drone. This one walked with purpose, confidence, authority. Its face was a mask of fractured glass, reflecting infinite darkness. Aiden's breath caught. "You are architect," the figure bowed mockingly. "I am a herald, voice of the quiet." Kalar stepped forward, spear ready. "You shall not stop us." The herald raised a hand. "You are not the threat. This human, the one who shouts, he is the infection." Reyes, "Infection? Rude." Aiden kept his weapon ready. "You fear us. That means you know you can't win." The herald's laugh was a glitching metallic screech. "We have already won. Your death simply hasn't caught up." It extended its hand, energy surging. The archives lit up, turning into a maze of floating shards. Gravity twisted. The room cracked like a mirror. Rowan shouted, "Aiden, we need a miracle." Aiden activated the key, light exploding from his chest, forming a protective wave. The herald staggered, screeching. Kalar leapt, spear striking with ancient fury. Reyes joined the fight, firing bursts that ricocheted off walls and struck the herald's armor. The herald retaliated, sending psychic claws that slammed Reyes into a pillar. "Reyes," Aiden yelled. Rowan dragged Reyes behind cover. "He's breathing. Keep fighting." Aiden charged, striking the herald with psychic force. The herald screamed, "Noise! Unacceptable!" Its armor cracked, revealing an unstable swirling void beneath. Aiden pushed harder. "You don't silence voices, you silence fear." The herald's voice turned desperate. "We are peace," Aiden shouted. "You are cowards." He unleashed the key fully, light carving through the herald like a blade of truth. The herald dissolved, shattering into dust and screams that faded into nothing. Silence followed. But this silence felt afraid. Reyes groaned. "Please tell me we're done." Aiden walked to the shattered prism. A glowing fragment floated upward, merging into the key within him. Energy surged and like a second heartbeat joining the first. Two pieces united. Kalar spoke solemnly. "We have awakened the silence of 2 stars, but 5 still wait." Rowan checked sensors. "Bad news. The enemy knows exactly where we are." The moon trembled, structures collapsing. "We have to go," Reyes shouted. The team sprinted back, architecture crumbling behind them, psychic storms ripping through hallways. They dove into the shuttle, engines roaring, rising as the entire library sank into the toxic clouds. The Goliath caught their shuttle, shields deflecting falling debris. Rowan yelled, "They're closing in, dozens of ships incoming." Aiden took the neural interface. "No running. We fight our way out." Kalar saluted, loud and proud. Reyes grinned, blood on his lip. Time to make silence scream. The battle lit the darkness, Valorian spear blasts and Goliath pulse cannons slicing through attackers. But more came, a never-ending shadow swarm. Aiden's head throbbed, the power inside growing dangerously strong. Kalar warned, "Your mind cannot hold 2 keys." Aiden forced a smile. "Then I'll shout twice as loud." He unleashed a psychic roar, a blast of energy that flung enemy ships backward, tearing a hole through their formation. Rowan didn't hesitate. "Jump drive, now!" The Goliath vanished, slipping into hyperspace, leaving the architect fleet screaming in rage behind them. Aiden collapsed to his knees, gasping and vision blurry. Reyes placed a hand on his back. "Hey, you're still here, still loud." Aiden took a breath, strength returning. "We have 2 keys. We know 5 remain. We hit them before they hit us." Kaler nodded. "The silence is weakening, but they will not stop." Aiden stared into hyperspace, fire in his eyes. "Good. Neither will we." Humanity had found another weapon. Knowledge. And the architects were starting to fear. The Goliath tore through hyperspace, its hull crackling with energy from recent battles. 2 keys now lived inside Aiden Cross, 2 pieces of an ancient weapon that could silence silence forever. But each piece came with a cost. More whispers, more pressure, more pain. Aiden stood in the neural chamber, staring at his reflection in the polished surface. His eyes had changed, faint lines of light threading through, his irises like energy veins. Reyes limped in behind him. "You look like someone installed a star inside you." Aiden responded with a thin smile. "Feels like it too." Reyes sighed. "Hey, just remember you're still human. Don't let those keys rewrite you." Aiden gently tapped his chest where the keys pulsed. "Human is why I fight." Reyes nodded, satisfied enough to leave before things got emotional. Kaler and Rowan awaited in the strategy chamber, the holographic star map glowing above them. 7 worlds marked, 2 conquered, 5 remaining. Rowan briefed. "Architect forces have fortified systems around the remaining keys. They're not taking chances," Kalar added grimly. "They know you are the threat." Aiden leaned in. "Then we keep moving fast." Before they complete their silent song, Reyes frowned. "What is a silent song anyway? A creepy lullaby?" Kalar's voice became low and grave. "It is their ultimate weapon, a psychic storm that erases entire species and minds first, then bodies. If unleashed, existence itself forgets you were ever alive." The room froze in fear. "Rowan, so, stop the song. Aiden, find the keys. Unite them. End this." He struck the map with determination. Next target. Kalar highlighted a bright ocean world, rolling blue waves and swirling storms. Planet Illyria, home of the Aquilin, telepaths who protected knowledge vulnerable to fear. Reyes grinned nervously. "Ocean planet? Cool. Just don't let me drown." Aiden nodded. "We leave immediately." The Goliath dropped from hyperspace, revealing Illyria, a shining world wrapped in endless blue. Towering water spires rose like frozen waves turned to crystal. But something was wrong. The planet was quiet. Too quiet. Kalar scanned, no Aquilin voices. "Their psychic signature is gone," Reyes whispered. "They're not dead, are they?" Aiden felt the keys pulse, pointing direction. "They are here." Silent but waiting. They descended in the shuttle, slicing through clouds into mist-covered seas. The water glowed faint teal like it remembered sunlight. Then, a shape moved beneath. Large. Fast. Aiden tightened his grip on the controls. Brace. An enormous creature breached. Part whale, part machine, its eye glowing red. Reyes screamed. "That is not friendly." Aiden fired propulsion jets, dodging the creature's jaws. It slammed back into the sea, making waves like liquid mountains. Rowan's voice crackled over comms. "Enemy bioconstructs. The architects corrupted the ocean." "Kyler, they enslaved Illyria," Aiden yelled. "Then we free it." They reached a cluster of floating silver domes, Aquilin structures. As they landed, humanoid forms emerged from the water. Blue skin, glowing fins, eyes, empty, hollow, mind-controlled. "Kalar, they are puppets." Aiden stepped down, activating the key's aura, pushing back psychic control. One by one, the Aquilin shook violently until life returned to their eyes. An Aquilin leader staggered forward. "You," broke their silence. Aiden helped him stand. "We're here for the second key component." The Aquilin's gills fluttered. "Follow." Before silence returns. They swam beneath the domes, tunnels opening like giant throats, entering a glowing undersea palace. In its center floated a massive pearl-like orb, pulsing like a tidal heartbeat. Reyes stared in awe. "That's huge. The Aquilin leader, the heart of Illyria. It holds our voice and the next piece you seek. Suddenly, dark shadows flickered, silent waves surging in. Architect soldiers, slender and sharp, gliding through water like blades. Reyes. And of course they followed us. Aiden stepped forward, keys glowing brighter. The entire ocean trembled. The heart pulsed faster. Psychic energy burst from Aiden, creating a bubble of power that slowed the attackers. Kylar and Reyes struck swiftly, blow after blow. Cutting through silent darkness, Aiden reached the heart and placed his palm on it. A third key fragment merged into him. A tidal roar exploding inside his mind. Pain slammed him to his knees. Waves crashed, stars warped, voices screamed. Rowan yelled over comms, "Aiden!" We're detecting massive power spikes. The ocean around him boiled as psychic power erupted outward, blasting every controlled Aquilin free from architect influence. The soldiers shattered like glass, dissolving to dust. The heart dimmed, its mission complete. The Aquilin leader fell to his knees. We can think again. Our children can breathe hope again. Aiden panted, struggling to stabilize his mind. Kalar helped him up. You carry 3 voices now. You walk the edge of silence, Aiden nodded weakly, but I walk forward. Reyes tapped the communicator. Bad news. Super bad news. Architect reinforcements inbound. Rowan shouted, "They brought a battle dreadnought." Aiden steadied himself, furious. How dare they try to silence this planet again? 3 keys flared. Ocean waves rising around him like living soldiers, he roared, "You want our voices? Then drown in them!" A massive psychic shockwave surged from Aiden, splitting the sea, tearing into the dreadnought in orbit. Cracks spread across its hull, black energy leaking like spilled ink, until it collapsed into the ocean like a dead Leviathan. Silence fell, but this silence was victory. The Aquilin leader held Aiden's hand. You have awakened more than just us. The galaxy will hear of Earth's courage. We join your alliance, Aiden nodded gratefully. We fight together, loud and free. Kalar looked toward the stars. They will strike harder now. They fear what is growing. Aiden stepped toward the shuttle. Good. Let them fear. Reyes smiled, despite exhaustion. Part 3 of the keys complete. Only 4 more nightmares to go. Aiden placed a hand over his heart, feeling the storm brewing stronger. We're not just gathering power. He whispered to himself, we're gathering voices. The voices of resistance and silence. Was running out of time, he looked toward the cosmos, and fire and hope united in his gaze. We're coming for the rest. The Goliath launched, alliance growing, war approaching, and destiny roaring. The voiceborn were rising, the architects would fall. The Goliath floated at the edge of the known universe, beyond star maps, beyond comfort, beyond safety. 3 keys beat inside Aiden's chest like a second heart, growing louder every moment. The whispers of the architects stalked his mind. You carry voices that should never exist. We will excise the noise. Aiden stared into the dark void ahead, a region where starlight died. The place Kalar called, the silent expanse. Rowan stood beside him. No turning back now, the captain said. Aiden nodded. If we don't end the silence, it will end everything. Reyes tightened his gloves. We hit them hard. We hit them fast. And if we die screaming, yeah? Aiden smirked. Exactly. Kalar approached, energy spear glowing. Our forces are ready. Valorian warriors. Aquilin defenders. The voice-born alliance marches with pride. Aiden addressed them all. Today, the universe finds its voice. The fleet surged forward, slicing into the silent expanse. Immediately reality darkened, stars flickered out. Space became suffocating emptiness. Reyes swallowed hard. Feels like someone turned the galaxy off. Aiden steadied himself. It's their domain. A world shaped by fear. Kalar placed a hand on Aiden's shoulder. But fear is loudest when challenged. Suddenly, booms echoed without sound. Architect warships materialized from the darkness. Thousands of them. The sky rippled with sinister red eyes. Reyes shouted, "Here we go!" Monster party. Rowan, all units, engage. Fighters launched. Valorian ships danced like silver lightning. Aquilin guardians fired sonic blasts through water spheres they carried into battle. The architects clashed back, void beams tearing space like fabric. It was chaos. Beauty and terror twisted together. Aiden watched, fury rising. We need to get to the giant structure ahead. Their central mind forge. That's where the silent song will activate. Rowan steered the Goliath forward, beams deflecting off shields as enemy ships swarmed. Kalar shouted orders. Protect the Goliath. Protect Aiden Cross. The Goliath punched through enemy lines until the center appeared. Colossal black sphere, covered in billions of screaming silent faces frozen in metal. The architect prime core Narayas gagged. That is wrong. Aiden's eyes burned with anger. We end it. The keys surged within him, almost too powerful to hold. Aiden stepped into the neural interface, rings closing around him. Rowan gripped his shoulder. If you fall, humanity falls. Aiden smiled weakly. No pressure. The connection ignited, the fusion of man and machine stronger than ever. Aiden felt the entire Goliath's strength flow into his thoughts. He reached for the architect core, and the architect struck back. A psychic hurricane slammed into him, voices screaming. You are fracture. You are pollution. You are noise. Aiden pushed through. I am choice. I am freedom. He fired a command and the Goliath blasting into the core's outer shell. Explosion shook everything, but repairs instantly formed. Kalar yelled, only the keys can disrupt the song. Aiden's veins glowed, 3 keys shining like suns in his chest. He roared, hurling psychic power stronger than before. Cracks formed in the prime core. Dark energy leaked inside. The architects shrieked, no! The voice must die. Silence is perfection. Aiden screamed louder. Silence is cowardice. He pushed harder, but the power began tearing him apart. His knees buckled, blood from his nose, veins glowing dangerously bright. Rowan grabbed him. That's enough. You'll die. Aiden shook his head. If I stop, everyone dies. Reyes yelled from weapons control. Big Ugly coming in. The enemy flagship, the one bigger than cities, descended. Its core pulsed void black. The void song began. A horrifying sound not heard by ears, but minds. Crew clutched their heads and we screaming. Silently, ships lost control, crashing into each other. Even Valorian warriors fell, crying without tears. The universe began forgetting itself. Aiden roared, refusing to submit. He summoned every thought, every hope, every voice he had ever sworn to protect. Earth's children, Aquiline Ocean's Valorian honor, he shouted, we are louder. The keys fused and exploding light across the battlefield. The void song shattered. The flagship cracked. The core screamed, like a star dying. Kalar roared, the voiceborn rises. Aiden's mind ripped deeper, inside the architect's consciousness. He stood in a void of shadows. A monstrous figure formed. The architect overmind. It hissed. Noise. Cannot guide existence, Aiden stepped forward and unafraid. It doesn't guide it. He clenched fists, a light bursting. It defines it. The overmind attacked. Void claws ripping reality. Aiden countered with voices of 1,000 allied minds. Every ally shouting inside him, we live, we choose, we are not silent. Aiden delivered the final strike. We will never go quiet. Light devoured the darkness. The overmind imploded. The silent expanse exploded outward. Stars reappeared, and then silence. Real, peaceful silence. Aiden collapsed, consciousness fading. He awoke in the Goliath medical bay. Alarms silent, crew cheering. Reyes hugged him awkwardly. You maniac. You did it. Kalar bowed deeply. The architects have fallen. Their silence is broken. Rowan grinned. You shouted so hard you saved the universe. Aiden laughed weakly. Told you. I'm loud. Out the window, the Alliance fleets gathered, celebrating freedom beneath reborn stars. A child's voice echoed in Aiden's memory. Be loud. Mr. Hero. He smiled warmly. I was. General Hale appeared on the screen. Lieutenant Aiden Cross. You have united worlds. You've given the galaxy hope. Aiden shook his head. We all shouted together. Kalar raised his spear. And as long as a single voice remains free, silence will never rule. Aiden stood, looking toward the future. This is not the end, just the beginning of a universe that can finally speak. The Goliath turned, engines ready, stars calling. Aiden whispered, let's hear what they have to say. The voice-born alliance flew forward, into a universe that would never again be silent.